Study hard, read books, get good grades, stand out. And then they tell you, if you do all of this, the world will respect you. People will admire your effort, your intelligence, your discipline. You'll be valued. Schopenhauer looks at this idea, gives a bitter laugh, and says, "What a fool is the one who believes that showing intelligence is a way to become popular." Because in real life, the opposite often happens. The intelligent person quickly becomes arrogant, cold, complicated, or hard to deal with. Society loves to praise intelligence in theory, but in practice, it builds 1,000 small ways to punish or isolate anyone who thinks too deeply. Why does this happen? To understand this, you need to look at 3 things at the same time: how the human mind reacts to comparison and inferiority, how status works inside groups, and how real intelligence destroys illusions that people don't want to give up. That's what we're going to break down now. Schopenhauer describes a small psychological theater that begins every time 2 people meet. One is noticeably more intelligent, the other notices this. On the outside, the conversation looks normal.
You don't have to be a
On the
witch to
inside,
find the
a
magic
silent
in this
war
world.
begins.
But it does
It
help.
works something like this. One person realizes the other is intellectually superior. Then he assumes the other has already noticed his inferiority. Then he assumes the other is secretly judging him for it. And from this chain of assumptions, a deadly mix is born: shame and resentment.
Chaos
The old,
surrounds
"I
us.
know that you know that I
would
know."
gladly show it.
This is
30
basic
seconds
social
before you
psychology.
attack. Get ready.
Comparison is not optional.
This
The brain
shield should do
compares all the
nicely.
time.
Even
Who
in
gets
the far
more
future,
attention?
it looks like
Who
Stark
speaks
is
better
still
in
the
the
most
group?
trusted name in
Whose
tech.
voice makes the room quiet down?
Fancy toaster.
Visible intelligence becomes a ruler, and nobody likes standing on the wrong side of the ruler.
See,
Nietzsche said that very few things feel as unbearable as seeing a virtue you lack shining in someone
battle
else.
starts in 5.
You don't hate
4,
intelligence itself.
3,
You hate the
2,
reminder of your
1.
limitation.
You
La Rochefoucauld went even further.
this area.
He said that what we call pure admiration is
The
often
end
just
has come,
powerless
but
envy
just for
wearing a
you.
mask. You clap in public and secretly bite your lips. So when someone intelligent enters a room, 3 things happen immediately. They increase the contrast. The contrast exposes people's own inferiority, and that inferiority quietly transforms into moral resentment. Suddenly, the intelligent person isn't just intelligent. He's cold, unfriendly, unlikable, difficult, arrogant. It's easier to attack his character than to admit he thinks better than I do. Pierre Bourgeois, a sociologist, talked about symbolic capital. It's not money, it's prestige, respect, recognition. Intelligence is one of the strongest forms of symbolic capital. And that capital is dangerous because you can't buy it, you can't easily fake it, and it exposes hidden hierarchies. In every human group, there are different status currencies: physical strength, beauty, charm, money, official power, intelligence, and so on. If you enter a space carrying a form of capital that the others don't have, you automatically threaten the local hierarchy. Think about work. If you're much more efficient, the incompetent feel exposed. If you see solutions your boss didn't see, he feels threatened. If you ask questions that reveal logical gaps, it seems like you're challenging someone, even when you're not. You're not doing anything wrong, you just exist in a way that makes others feel small. And human beings have a basic instinct: protect their status. If someone can't beat you in intelligence, they change the rules. They'll say you lack social skills. They'll say you're too rigid. They'll say you think you're better than everyone else. They'll cut you out of important conversations. They'll shift the focus away from
You need to
does
stop
what
that
he's saying
vehicle
make
in its
sense
tracks.
to who does he think he is to talk like
Where's the
this.
skyscraper with my
The intelligent
name on
person threatens the ego, the status, and the self-image of the group. That's why society tends to attack, reject, or quietly isolate intelligent people unless they learn to make themselves less threatening. Psychology has a term for this: projection. Schopenhauer describes it perfectly. A person feels inferior, so they imagine the intelligent person looks down on them. They create a story in their mind where the smart person is judging them. The logic is simple and childish. He is more intelligent. Intelligence is better than stupidity. So he must think he's better
I
than
have
me.
risen.
So he must be despising me. So I'll hate him first. This is pride protecting itself. Before you can make me feel small, I'll turn you into the villain. But Rochefoucauld said that most everyday morality
Don't
is
mess
just
with the
ego trying
amazing
to justify itself.
Spider-Man!
He's intelligent, but he's not humble.
Dangerous.
Translation: I can't reach his level, so I'll invent a moral flaw to bring him down to mine. Nietzsche called this herd morality. When the weak can't defeat the strong, they turn the strength of the other into a moral defect. Courage becomes recklessness. Passion becomes exaggeration. Intelligence becomes arrogance. That's how the hatred of intelligence is born. Not as a grand theory, but as thousands of small resentments. Now let's pull the scientific.
Again!
Many studies show that humans are terrible at evaluating their own competence. The famous Dunning-Kruger effect describes this. Incompetent people tend to think they're much better than they are, while truly competent people often underestimate themselves. So what does this look like in the real world? Mediocre people who feel misunderstood and unfairly overlooked, and truly capable people who are treated like they're too much. The brain also hates effort. Thinking deeply feels like work. Questioning what you believe hurts. Daniel Kahneman describes two modes of thought. System 1, fast, automatic, shallow. System 2, slow, analytical, exhausting. Real intelligence uses much more System 2. But System 2 burns energy. It fights habits, beliefs, comfort. Most people aren't looking for truth, they're looking for mental rest. So when an intelligent person forces them into deeper thought, it doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like irritation. He complicates everything. He asks pointless questions. He's overthinking. It's not pointless. The mind just doesn't want the discomfort. Combine Dunning-Kruger, mental laziness, and wounded pride, and you get a society that admires intelligence from a distance, but hates it up close. There is also an evolutionary reason for all of this. Human beings are tribal animals. For most of history, survival depended on staying inside the group. And in a tribal environment, the biggest threat isn't a distant predator. It's someone inside the tribe who destabilizes the group's harmony. Someone who thinks too much, questions too loudly, or sees too far becomes a problem. Not because they're wrong, but because they shape things the tribe needs to keep stable. Beliefs, rituals, hierarchies, social goals. The anthropologist Robin Dunbar talked about the social brain. Our brain, he said, evolved mainly to manage complex social relationships, not to chase abstract truth. In other words, the mind cares more about who is friend or rival, who can threaten you, who is above or below you, than about what is real. When an intelligent person speaks, they don't just speak. They unintentionally challenge shared stories. And shared stories are the glue of any group. If you break collective illusion, don't expect radical. Expect resistance. That is why, historically, people who thought too differently often met the same fate. Ridiculed while alive, rejected by the group, appreciated only when they were no longer a threat. The genius is more useful dead than alive. Alive, he disrupts. Dead, he inspires without inconveniencing anyone. Schopenhauer himself lived this pattern. He often felt like the smartest person in the room, and in his case, it was probably true. He had an extraordinary ability to analyze, to read deeply, and connect ideas. But with this ability came a brutal honesty. He spoke plainly. He corrected people. He demolished arguments. He refused to play along with social games. The result? He alienated colleagues, fought with academics, and was ignored for decades. And who became famous instead? Hegel, a philosopher whose system was more digestible to the intellectual fashion of the time, more marketable, more aligned with what academia wanted to hear. Nietzsche went through the same thing, almost invisible in life, discovered only after his mind had collapsed. Cioran wrote from the position of an outsider, an exile, someone who didn't fit the mainstream. It's a pattern. Deep intelligence often leads to conclusions people don't want to hear. That life has no built-in meaning, that suffering is unavoidable, that morality is partly a social invention, that humans are driven by motives far less noble than they claim. None of that sells well. None of that comforts crowds. It doesn't go viral unless it's watered down. The truly intelligent become strange, uncomfortable presences. They don't hate society for fun. They just see that society doesn't want what they genuinely have to offer. And Schopenhauer understood something essential. Politeness is not a virtue, it's a strategic performance. It's an agreement. I won't shove your weaknesses in your face, you won't shove the truth in mine. We pretend to respect everything about each other. Deep down, we know it's true. And the purpose of this theory is simple. reduce friction, make social interactions smoother. It's like oil in a machine full of misaligned gears. If you're intelligent and want to survive socially, Schopenhauer gives advice that feels humiliating, but realistic. Don't show everything you see. Don't correct people the moment you notice they're wrong. Don't make others feel stupid. Sometimes you have to play along. He says that appearing a little lesser can actually be a form of recommendation. People like feeling slightly above the ones around them. It warms their self-esteem. If you constantly show that you are faster, deeper, more articulate, you steal a small but vital pleasure from people. The pleasure of feeling competent. That's why he quotes Balthazar Grassi: to be popular, wear the skin of the foolish animal. It doesn't mean become stupid. It means control the dosage. Sometimes you know someone is wrong, but you stay silent. Sometimes you could explain something better, but you don't bother. Sometimes it's more intelligent to pretend you didn't notice a flaw. It looks like cowardice, but it's strategy. Gracian, Goffman, Schopenhauer, they all point to the same reality. Human interaction is a stage. Refuse to accept that, and you become a target. There's another reason society dislikes intelligent people. Real intelligence dissolves illusions, and people depend on illusions to function. I understand politics. I know myself. I'm not influenced by anyone. I'm a good person. I deserved more than life gave me. When someone intelligent enters the conversation, they ask questions that cut through the comfortable stories people tell themselves. How do you know that? Have you considered the opposite? What if this idea is just convenient for you? This is unforgivable. You're not just debating ideas, you're touching the inner narrative the person uses to hold themselves together. Most people react with three strategies: dismissal, you overthink everything; moral attack, you lack empathy; or label, you're pessimistic, arrogant, negative. Rarely does anyone say, "This bothers me because I don't want to think about it." So the intelligent person becomes the scapegoat, the problem, the difficult one. The ironic part is that often they're the only one in the room trying to look at reality without anesthesia. Let's bring it down to everyday life. The child who learns fast is called a shower. The kid who finishes is full of himself. The student who asks people questions annoys the teacher. The one who reads too much is weird, nerdy, strange. The message is loud and clear. Be average. Don't go too high, don't go too low. Stay in the middle. The intelligent employee sees structural mistakes and points them out. Suddenly, he's a problem. He suggests improvements. He's difficult. He refuses to waste time in pointless meetings. He's not a team player. Many bosses prefer loyal mediocrity over independent intelligence. The very smart make those above them feel exposed. Between a competent person who questions and a mediocre one who obeys, many environments choose the mediocre and then complain that there's no talent. The child who reads more and questions the family religion becomes rebellious. The daughter who notices toxic